Hello! Welcome to another episode of Charsie Chats, and I am your host, usually cosplayer Charsie Lux, but for the last few episodes, actually almost for the last month, I have been just doing voiceovers over top of my artwork and everything, and I've really been enjoying these kinds of videos. But yes, I know and realize that some of you miss my face, so here you go. Here is a picture of my face if you miss seeing me. But anyway, just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been joining me on here, and an extra thank you for all the support as I keep making all these different changes and transitions on my channel. I go through a lot, but you know what? As long as I'm growing and improving and just finding ways to better myself over and over again, and I appreciate every single one of you that come along for the ride. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done a Charsie Chats here on the channel, but I just kind of wanted to do a quick, brief moment to talk about my worst convention experience, because as a cosplayer and everything, I've only been to a few conventions, so it's not like I have a handful of events that I've gone to. And the saddest part is I have never officially gone to a convention since I've actually started being Charsie Lux for cosplay and everything. It's started because of being stuck in quarantine and basically missing the fact of being able to cosplay and to do these kind of things, that it developed with online and everything, that doing Charsie Lux was a way to have that interactions and to be able to dress up in costume and everything. So in August of 2020 was when I started doing that. But my first convention really wasn't that long ago. Like, my first convention was in 2016 at Anime Midwest. And then I've also done Anime Milwaukee, and I really haven't done too many conventions because it was baby steps, and because of money, conventions can be really expensive. But at the same time, I was only going to conventions that were really in my area and everything. And C2E2, that was another one that I enjoyed going to. The problem with C2E2 is that you couldn't just plan every year when you were going, because the time and the date would change all the time. So one year it was in April, another year it was in March, another year it was in the summertime. And then after quarantine, it just went completely off the rails on when the event was going to happen. But since quarantine and that, I just have not had the interest in going to a convention, with all the rules and regulations and everything else. And I still haven't come back to wanting to be around large crowds and that kind of stuff. But one of the other things that I really enjoy doing is going to Renaissance fairs and that kind of stuff, which, I mean, that's not the same thing, but you can still get dressed up for Renaissance fairs, and I love their themed weekends, especially when they had their RenCon, and they also had their steampunk weekend. I would love to check out their pirate weekend, because I bet that's a ton of fun. But anyway, so back on track, I was going to just talk about my worst convention experience, which the saddest part is that it was, I want to say, just in 2018. Yeah, because no, it actually might have been 2019, because the last convention that I had went to was in February of 2020, was Anime Milwaukee, and it was literally just before quarantine happened. So this one would have been Anime Midwest 2018. So that should have been in July, because usually Anime Midwest happens around July 4th. And I can always remember because it's around the holiday. Not too far off from my birthday either. So I used to like Anime Midwest. But then it's like you would hear the rumors about the founder, owner, the person that's in charge of Anime Midwest, I started hearing really bad rumors about that person. So then that kind of puts a bad light on it. But it just was all this weird, awkward rudeness that me and my husband and my friends had to deal with during that time period. And it was weird little things that just built up after a while, where I'm like, is this the type of direction of entitlement that people are in and doing right now? To where it's like, it's not even fun going to events like that because you're worried about dealing with rude people like the ones that I'm just about to talk about. And like I said, it's one of those weird things where it's like, it really isn't terrible things. Like, I've heard some really bad horror stories about conventions and things like that, but it just was weird that the one time that I experienced all these negative things all happened at the same time. So one of the things was the fact that when we showed up at the convention and we were waiting in line to get into the event, that we had all these young people cut in front of us in line. And they would totally just ignore us. We kept trying to get their attention to tell them, like, look, you can't cut in line like this. And they just ignored us. So it just got to the point where we finally had to go and find one of the people that was a part of the event and tell them, so that they had to direct these people that they couldn't cut in line in that. Because these people just would not look at us at all. Like, they thought in their heads that if they wouldn't make eye contact with us, that they could just pretend and stay in the line in front of us. And it's like, no, we showed up here early to stand in line. You're not just gonna cut up in front of us. And it's like, weird shit like that happens, where it's like, get to the back of the line. It's like, yeah, it sucks that the line is how far back, but that's not our fault and problem. And so that was just weird to begin with. We also, when we were leaving one of the panels, there was these two younger cosplayers that were running around in the hallway, and they ran into me to where they ended up hurting me, and I almost fell over but was able to catch myself. And these guys just kept walking, didn't stop to double check that I was okay, didn't apologize. So we ended up following them, trying to get their attention, and we're like, whoa, look, guys. So that was weird, and that was the same case and scenario as the people who cut in front of us in the line. Like, wouldn't make any kind of contact with us, pretending like they couldn't hear us, which we knew that they could. And it's like, what the hell? Like, the fact that they literally ran into me so hard that I almost fell over. And then they couldn't even do the bare minimum of just saying, oh my God, sorry, excuse me, like nothing. They just pretended like nothing had happened. And you know what? I'm so calm and collected. If it would have been somebody with a temper, I could have seen somebody like kicking them or pushing them, or I don't know, taking a shoe off and hitting them over the back of the head because they weren't listening. I don't know. It was just so bizarre. And then later in the event, we were at the little seating area. We were just hanging out and on our way back to head to our rooms because the event was at the Rosemont Inn and we were staying at the hotel. So we were heading back up to our room. Well, had noticed when going through the main hall area that I almost stepped in vomit. So my reaction was to turn and to let everybody who was behind me know, like, watch out, there's vomit on the floor. Well, there were two girls sitting to the side next to where the vomit was. And in me directing to my husband and my friends and being like, hey, watch out, don't step on the vomit. And this woman, I mean, I guess she was a woman because they had to have been old enough to drink, because they were obviously throwing up alcohol because that's what it smelled like. But literally, she said, mind your own business, bitch. It's like, excuse me? You puked all over the floor And I'm literally just turning to inform everyone, like, hey, there's vomit on the floor. Don't step in it, because I almost stepped in it. And I was so shocked that it's like, I didn't even know how to respond to it, to where my one girlfriend that was there with us turned and looked at him and said, she's just informing us so that we don't trip on the vomit on the floor. It was just the most bizarre thing, to where like the whole event, and by that point you just feel icky, where I'm just like, is this how people are now? Like, if it was like one thing, it probably wouldn't have bothered me so much, but it just was like thing after thing after thing. And then that's just the attitude that people had for the most part while you were there. Like, they would cut you off in line, they wouldn't hold the elevator for you. Like I said, really simple stuff that after a while it just kind of built up, where it's like, okay, is it because we're so close to Chicago and this is how Chicago people act? I mean, it just was so weird. But yeah, that was like the worst experience I ever had, and it was weird that shortly after that was when I finally started hearing the negative rumors about the event planner to Anime Midwest, that there was all these bad things about this person. So I have never been back there since then, but like I said, it's just kind of even more ironic because shortly after that was when COVID and quarantine happened, so it's not like I was going out of my way to do these events anyway. But yeah, like I said, it could have been things that were way worse, and it's just, like I said, it just was a bunch of really bad events of really rude, entitled people. It just left a sour taste in my mouth, to where it's like, you know, I have no interest in going back there again. I don't think I want to go to any event that's at the Rosemont for any time soon. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for joining me here on another Charsie Chats. And if you're interested in following me on my other social medias, there will be a link in the description down below, including one for my Patreon or for my Etsy. So including this art piece that you can see that I've been working on during this voiceover and everything. That will be a part of my art shop as well. And on the screen you can see a shout out to all my Patreon members, and a huge thank you for all the help and support. It is greatly appreciated. And an ultimate shout out to my Ultimate Lux. So thank you so much, Kurt, for joining me on there. And remember, I'm the afterlife of the party, but I would love for you to join me in the afterlife of the party. And always remember to slay, subscribe, like, and always be yourself. Until next time, my little Luxes, have a Luxy Charms kind of day. Bye.